Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Conversation Capital with myself, Ursula Mariani, the host, and your voice of reason. Guess who's on camera today? Hey, guess who's on camera today?
But I feel like I've been on camera a few times now, haven't I?
Is it a few times? Maybe.
I don't know.
Hi, Bonga Bueta. How are you?
I'm good, Ursula. How are you?
I am awesome, thank you. I feel like I haven't seen you in a month. I probably haven't.
I don't know.
It's a while, guys. How are you doing?
I'm good, Ursh. How are you?
I'm awesome, guys. Give Unzai an upgrade. He's got a camera facing him and he's got a microphone. Halakalambona. Halakalambona give it today. You'd know what TCC Tech Director. I upgrade. Come on and get your laptop or give. How's it going, Give?
All good, hey?
Yeah, guys, it is the Get Ready With Me episode. If you're new to our podcast, we get ready to shoot episodes for the rest of the day. And while we get ready, we go through some of your comments, your questions, your queries. And we also have a segment called Reflections. And during Reflections, we share some of our insights over the past month. So let's start with you, Bonga.
I don't have one. Second episode without a reflection.
Did you have one the last time? Because we
didn't.
decided to skip.
I didn't. I was the contributor to the fact that let's skip it.
Oh, because you knew.
Because I was like, I don't have one. Sorry, guys. I don't have a reflection.
I had one, actually. I don't think, and this is purely my opinion, I definitely haven't read any research on this, but I don't think as a country, South Africa, we get enough credit for, I think we give a lot of dignity to, I would say, blue-collar workers. I say this, it's anecdotal, it's an experience that I had. I went to another country and we were having a meal at a restaurant. And you know how waiters at a restaurant are like probably the most common that you would interact with people who are either semi-skilled or skilled labor, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had this experience where you could feel how people who were from there and Westerners had this. The waiters felt like they did not expect you to treat them like people. And I don't know if that's a good way to phrase it, right? But they didn't expect you to say thank you. You were weird for saying thank you, and I felt weird, right? And I know that definitely happens here. I'm talking about generally, right? I and at the same time, I must definitely state that I don't think, particularly waiters, which is what I'm specifically referring to, the example I'm using, I don't think that they get the best treatment. I don't like the tipping system as much as there are people who will guilt trip you for tipping or not tipping, which I really feel like we need to have that conversation. But I think it perpetuates these business owners actually not paying their right. They have an excuse not to.
The responsibility from the business owner to the customer.
Exactly.
I hear what you're saying. I've never thought of it that way, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, so I'm not much of a fan of tipping at all. Where it makes sense and if it's done right, I'm absolutely for it. But unfortunately, there are those who use it as an excuse to not reward their staff well. And I'm definitely not for that. But more generally, Nje, I do think that as a country, based on our laws, the fact that there are so many things that are enforced, and there's a lot of companies that do get away with a lot, but I do think that we might take for granted just how much we make an effort to give dignity to the people that work, semi-skilled or skilled labor or just blue-collar workers.
When you started that point, I thought you were going to speak about how we underestimate how well our country is doing. I was thinking about it this week when I saw, let me just take you back. Given has this thing of saying, guys, you don't realize how well our country's doing in terms of the structures that we build, our bridges. You've spoken about it before, like generally our infrastructure and the quality of our infrastructure. So when you started that point, I was thinking you're gonna go there to be like, guys, I feel like we're always bashing our country. I was actually thinking about that this week when I saw like construction on the road. There's been this ongoing, I don't know the name of the road, but it's a national road. I can't remember, KN17, I think so. It's been construction now, it's done and it's proper. And I just thought about how, given is like always speaking about how good our infrastructure is. We complain so much, but we have systems. I mean, Americans come to South Africa and they're surprised of our swiping system, how efficient our banking system is. We underestimate those things. So I
Absolutely.
guess just on your point, how good we are as a country, infrastructure and people-wise, Ubuntu. People's favorite.
I'm
lines.
also thinking about how, when you hear someone is treating their helper at home, I should call them a house manager.
That's right.
Yeah, like when you hear of someone, like I often see just how shocked. Maybe it's people just in my friend group giving me that impression that we as a country, guys. But in most cases, I find people are actually shocked that you would pay them that much. They sleep with your child, wake up with your child, and take your child to school. All of those. The fact that I just get a sense of that's shocking. But there are countries, and I don't want to name any specific countries, where that is a norm and beyond, right? Like just the treating people who work at what we would regard as menial labor, or labor that assists you at home, at restaurants, at hotels, hospitality related work, or even someone doing the garden or whatever the case may be. But that bonga would have definitely been one of my reflections. I don't think we celebrate this country enough. There's
Absolutely.
A lot of things that we can call out.
You're so right.
But we don't celebrate it enough.
I remember a friend of mine was dating a German guy, and when he went back home, he was like, I miss South Africa. She's like, what do you miss? He's like, I miss the weather and I miss a helper. I miss being able to afford a helper. And he had like a pretty high profile job, but in Germany, he cannot afford to have a helper.
Imagine.
So that is something
we were
too.
actually having a same conversation quite recently about Canada and how for them, which I think this would be brilliant to apply to in South Africa. So they have a thing where if you want to be a helper, you have to go through certain certifications, acquire certain certifications. But the problem with that is that it takes the price of the cost of getting that labor or hiring a person who is skilled at doing that. Like a plumber is a proper career because it's recognized, it's insured. If they make a mistake at your house, there's insurance that covers those mistakes that they make, right? Which is quite brilliant. But I think in South Africa, you'd have to give it some kind of grading system where people get certificates at different levels so that the everyday person can still afford to pay someone to do the gardening. And you should always, because there it's illegal actually, to hire someone to do even like, I don't know, low-end labor, like someone to unclog your drain. You can't do that. You have to hire someone who is certified at doing that. The person is not allowed to do it. So I think you should have the freedom, like how we have here. You can choose to do your hair with someone who's going to pull you and leave you with razor bumps if they're cutting your hair,
Or you can choose to get somebody very qualified at doing hair.
Exactly.
On the certification and nannies or house managers conversation, I always tell my mother the type of nanny I would want is the type of nanny I can't afford. If I was in a different tax bracket, I would definitely have a nanny that could drive, has their own car, has first aid,
can read,
has been to varsity.
You want a PA?
No, I wouldn't say a PA, but someone, a childminder. Like, these are normal for other people. Very normal for particular people who earn quite a substantial. Like someone, I always tell my mother that I just can't afford that person, but I want someone like that. Once, So you're absolutely right.
Maybe before we move on, do you mind if I ask which country you were in? Or you don't want to mention the country where you felt?
Zim. I was in Zim, Which there was actually
interesting.
quite.
I actually thought you were going to mention a European country or like a Western country, European Western country.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear
that's so
you.
interesting.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's that experience that I had personally.
Yeah.
Then there's also the experiences that I've heard from people who've been to other African countries, where they would say, if you're there and you're doing this type of work, this kind of treatment, you should just forget about it. Or this level of treatment, you should just forget about it. You're going to be treated as someone who, if you bring me a meal, there is no thank you. You're doing your job.
Hello. Hi. Sorry to disturb the episode, and I promise it's just going to be a few minutes to remind you of our collaboration with Eat Daimani. So the Conversation Capital has partnered with Eat Daimani, and we have limited edition bucket hats. And if you haven't bought one and supported, why not? Make sure you get yours at the Eat Daimani website. So that's eatdaimani.africa. And then you specifically need to go to the Eat Daimani XTCC bucket hats. So that's the collaboration bucket hats. So they've got normal bucket hats on their website, and they've also got the collaboration ones. So make sure you get yourself a bucket hat, and I guess you can continue watching the episode now. Love you guys so much. Thank you for the support. Do you think, and might be tricky to navigate this conversation correctly, do you think that it's the culture of the way house managers and the help or blue collar workers are treated in other countries that South African managerial level people prefer to hire them? Because in South Africa, there's a certain standard, whether I'm a cleaner or there's a certain way you need to talk to me. I used to work at a store, and I remember like the salespeople getting upset at customers to say greet.
Yes.
We saw it the other day with Steve Madden, where the guy refused to serve a customer because she didn't greet. And she's like, I don't have to greet you. But in South Africa, we're like, you do.
Yes. Yes.
And do you think that is the reason why, like I said, the hiring end of individuals in South Africa choose to then work with foreign nationals?
Can I first just share a very quick experience?
Yeah.
I remember I was at in Pretoria at a mall, and there's a security guard. You'd usually find them stationed at like certain spots at the mall. And then I'm approaching him to ask him for directions because I think I wanted to find the taxis or something. And then before I greeted him respectfully, like, hi, how are you? Can you please direct me to blah, blah, blah. He pauses, he looks at me and he's like, take off those headphones. I take them off, and then he responds to me. Right, but to answer your question,
but this is funny because this is definitely South African culture.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Our levels of respect are not universal.
Yes,
and that's what I had to learn, especially the one of greeting, because to be honest, I wasn't taught that in my home. Anglalanga now. I learned that literally when I started working at a store. And I'm a very respectful person, but it was not part of the connotations of what makes you respectful, or because there's certain rules, right? In South Africa that you must follow.
Yes.
This makes you a respectful individual. Or not just in South Africa, I think we all have sets of rules that this makes you respectful. And so for me, I did not know this rule of bulisa qala, And I remember now I think I'm quite good at it, but I was very intentional to learn it. And I remember thinking, how many people visit this country and get it wrong? Because this is not something that we know is something that should be done.
Exactly.
Or something that makes you respectful in this country.
It irks me personally.
If you don't greet, it means you were raised with it.
It irks me, like, why you just I also dislike, one thing I dislike, guys, if you enter a room and you choose who you greet. I
also don't like that.
So South African.
I also do not like that.
I hate that so much.
I do not like
just
that.
Dumelang, hi.
Yes,
then the other person,
it's important.
Then the other person you're used to, you'll be more affectionate, hug, or show a bit more joy.
Yes.
But walking past me, like, I work in an open floor, right? An open work what is it called? An open plan, and my table's right at the door. So you have to pass my desk. And then you pass my desk to greet the other person. I'm like, you should
but I
just
hear you, a quick dumelang is important.
Especially because it's not open floor, like open floor. It's closed off. So you open the door. Then if it was an open floor where it's like, the huge ones, then I understand it's too big to say hello to everyone.
Yes.
But that one, there's a limited, so much so, like, I don't greet that person anymore because I've seen them do it too many times.
Guys, I really do not remember it being a distinct thing in my household growing up to say good morning first. And I think it's possible I woke up in the morning and just started shooting. You know, I had a dream about like I'm quite like I don't know, but I think so.
I hear you.
I don't ever remember my mom or dad saying you didn't greet first. And the first time I learned you didn't greet first was on the streets. Where I was like, what's up with this thing?
Yeah, why are you so
Why are
offended?
you so offended? You know, I'm not coming to you harshly. I'm actually happy. Well, hey man, I just bumped into this guy because for me, we're like colleagues, right? And I'm just gonna start shooting my story. They're like, Anglalanga now. And I'm like, what? Excuse me? Niti Anglalanga now. Which, okay, translation means I didn't sleep with you.
Yes.
Meaning that like greet me properly.
Yes.
So like it's such a thing that I think now, like I said, I've mastered. But it taught me so much about upbringing, culture, knowing the nuances. There was a girl, Mihi, shout out to Mihi. She's living in, it's not China, one of the islands on China, I've forgotten what it's called. But like the fancy part of China, not Hong Kong, the other one.
You mean a city?
No, it's an island.
An island.
Anyway. But you guys know
Okay,
what
it's not
I'm
what
talking
I'm thinking.
I'm
It's
sure
not-
in
it's
the
not where
comments
I'm
you
Yeah,
know
in the
that.
comments you guys will
It's
get it
not
right.
where
But
I'm
she
thinking
lives
of.
there, and she was explaining that in China, you never say thank you for a compliment. So you're supposed to deny a compliment. Otherwise, if you say thank you for it, it means I know.
You're pompous.
Yes, you're pompous. And humility is like, so when somebody says, oh, you've got to, because she's a musician there, she's a singer. She says, when people say, oh, you can sing so well, she must be like, I sing where? Where do I sing well?
Because you're showing humility.
You're showing humility.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, you flatter me.
I wouldn't survive there.
You
Yeah, I
would, you
know.
absolutely
Yeah, I
would.
know.
But like understanding the rules of certain places
Yeah.
it's so like
It's so important.
it's so important.
Yeah, I just want to quickly answer the question, or what I think of the question you were asking. I do think definitely that does come into play, right? Because you were asking earlier, do
Yes.
we
You
think that's
that,
why?
yeah, the culture of like not wanting, not demanding respect from customers or this and that
Yes.
makes a manager say, actually, I'd rather hire the person from Zim or from Malawi. You know?
You know, for one, I will say that we do tend to hire outside of South Africa because the labor is cheaper.
Yep.
I think that one
Yes,
just
yes.
cannot be
Yes.
denied. ne?
Absolutely.
The labor is much cheaper. But one thing I will also mention is that I worked at Clicks, one of my my first job outside of high school. And one of the things that Clicks does really well, guys, is train on customer service. It's a standard. There's no option, there's no debate.
And they really do.
Yeah.
Yes,
They're
like
lovely.
Clicks, it's a standard. You smile. There's literally for us, anyways. There used to be a little sticker by your counter, right? Point of sale, and there you'd have these things that remind you, smile, do this. Whenever you're directing a customer to an aisle, you're supposed to follow in front of them.
And
you
they
don't
do.
point them to exactly. So I'm mentioning that to also comment on the fact that I do think, in fact, I remember I've spoken of the ad at Check Us, which we don't give good customer service. Old ad, which I've asked someone on the internet, please find me that ad. Right? Yeah. There are companies that choose not to spend time teaching on customer service. Maybe it's to cut costs. Maybe it's because they don't realize how important it is. Maybe it's because they themselves don't value it. But for me, I don't know, that really hits me because I don't think training people to be nice.
Yeah.
Because for us, it's also built
Even
into our
training
culture.
people to understand the product.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So like allow somebody, because I remember DeLonghi would allow their people that make coffee in Macro to take the coffee machine home. You know, because they come from Thursday, during the week use it.
Yes.
Taste the different coffee beans, you know, taste the different settings, so that when you talk about it, you know, there's like a real practical experience. I hate it when I ask a waiter, how's the steak? And they're like, oh, we don't eat the food here.
Yo.
I hate that.
Yo.
Don't do that.
Yo.
You know, it just doesn't
that
make
is
sense.
terrible.
Yeah, your waiters and waitresses should know the food.
Yo, that's terrible.
You know, they should know what's new on the menu, what it tastes like. Introduce it to them first. You know? I hear you, Giv. I really hear you.
Given this customer service thing you're speaking about in training is so, like, I've realized how it impacts my decisions of where I go. Like, I'm used to the standard at Clicks being so high, and Val is such a small town, so your things are limited. to my experience of places in the Val is like, why are you guys like this? Why Lisi excited? Luna who receive like the Val? I don't know, man, about a small town. I don't know who. Maybe actually you can share this experience with me. But there's something about being in a small town and customer service not being taken seriously. Like, relaxed. I get a huge difference of when I'm shopping in Johannesburg versus when I'm shopping at home in the Val.
Absolutely.
It's like nonchalant.
Yeah.
I remember this person looking at someone coming. I was the last person they're serving. She literally said, "Yo, hey, let me close this till quickly before I come on." So it wasn't time, but it's like, "Hey, let me go close this till quick." Like this nonchalance. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I make my choices of shopping in Johannesburg based on customer service experience.
Customer service is everything, guys. Like, I've had house managers that don't clean as well as others, but because she's so nice. Where I'm like, I want you in my space. And like, I know my types won't be as shiny, and but because you make me feel comfortable for you to be in my space, or like, if you think about where you go do your nails, I always say my nail lady, one day if she says, Eshla, today I'm selling your secrets. She can sell everything.
Book.
She makes me feel so comfortable to tell her everything. And that experience is, it's great, guys. Customer service really, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, invest more in customer service.
Absolutely.
Invest more.
Absolutely.
By the way, like, I don't know how this relates. I'm just reminded with it. I think it's somehow to do with customer experience or quality experience. You know how this move towards social media, ne? Let me not say how. There's this huge move to social media that even big corporates are trying to document stuff. So if you have a work function, you're trying to get photographers, you're trying to get, it's not like before when you wouldn't document stuff like that. Now it's really serious. Companies are investing in reels, even if it's not for marketing, but for the archiving of company events, right? So here we are, we're building a company at work. Not a company, we're building a function at work, and we're looking at different photographers. And these guys who were once only doing photography for influencers are now being in the spotlight for big companies, right? Because only they can do these reels and what. It's no longer your Mado that does professional photography, right? It's your Tabo, because they were taking photography for this influencer. Now Tabo is having to find himself in this huge corporate. They're asking him to document an event over 2 days with 290 people. And I'm remembering this as we're speaking about customer service, because guys, I am so impressed at how black young people, here specifically males, have taken, how seriously they've taken their business. Like, I was sitting in the boardroom with a bunch of guys who had tattoos all over their bodies, and here they are, we are building this company, and this event, and I was so impressed at the professionalism. Yes, how about in the office, it's like, hey, like, what is happening here?
And their business acumen,
guys. I am so impressed.
I'm telling you.
Like, because it's...
I'm being triggered by that.
Why?
I'm going to start a different conversation. Yes.
But let me wrap it up.
Yeah. Go on.
I was just so impressed by it. Here are these guys who look like this in a boardroom that are going to give us a service where it started off capturing influencers. But because the market has become so big for wanting to document, they're finding themselves in boardrooms and they are showing up. I am so impressed at the customer service.
Could you also explain to a more international audience what skr is? What's a skr?
Skr is like, the guys with the low jeans.
Yo, my man.
Yes, the hip hop guys.
The wannabes.
I don't think they're wannabes. Okay, let's say, would you say skr are 2Ks?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so people that are born in the year 2000, and they've got a certain,
90s.
Lingo about them. Instead of like a heart, they do this.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you where I know where skr comes from, because Tina, we were the OGs who were called skr.
Okay.
So
okay.
The
you bet you was
OG skr. Abo, yo, my man.
If I can think of when I met Given, he was an OG skr.
Yeah,
he was. He even used to rap battles.
So here's where this thing comes from, ne? skr comes from you could say trap
Yes.
music, because within those music
Yes.
within that music genre, they like saying skr.
Yeah.
Yes, that's where it comes from. Now
You know, as you say it, I'm like, oh.
Yes.
that's where it comes from. That's where it comes from.
Okay.
It's actually, if you really look into it, it's a derogatory term. If you really look into it, it is to say ilaba abo skr naba sebafikile. It's this type of group. You understand what I hope you understand what I'm saying? Yes. So the reason that I'm saying this is it touches me. It's because I've been to events and seen how there'll be someone within, like some guy that everyone knows what he's trying to build a music career, and a group of girls bazosho abhekele when he's not paying attention. Okay, skr.
This is personal, forgive me.
And it touches, you know why it touches me? It touches me because the very same girls, when you reach your breakthrough, guys, Buzani Abo Casper Nyoves, ask them when they were building their careers.
If they were
there
not
were people who were calling them skr Aboyo, my man.
I know one need.
The very same girls
Casper's
are
got
now
that song that
front
says,
line.
You know you're rich when everybody call you cousin.
Exactly.
And you know what, given you're right, because see, associated even nobupara, like you're
like,
right.
like you're not.
Hey, you don't know where you're going. That's why the
Yes.
derogatory part, I get it, because it's like hasho, hana future type of vibes. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I used to date a skr.
My skr face.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
your
can I give you my
reflection?
reflection? So my reflection, it just has to do with a lot what's happening in the media right now. This will probably air not at the time, but I think this will go on for the whole year. But everything around the Jeffrey Epstein files and how much like social media has really broken down the barriers that the wealthy used to hide behind for so long. The things that are going on or the things that are being said, it's scary.
I've been avoiding them.
No, yeah, it's something to avoid
Yeah.
because it can actually, I think, even depress you. You know, just to see like what a dark side of the world there is, how people have no regard for children's innocence, you know, and like, it's oh my goodness, it's terribly scary. But another one that I've been watching, I've only watched like the first episode, is Tyra Banks.
Nessa was telling me about that.
I'm telling you, it's also quite hectic, right? In the sense that there's also an era. Every era comes with its norms. The same way we just spoke about culture. It scared me to think about what are some of the things that even we're discussing casually that my great-grandchildren are going to look at and feel embarrassed of their great-grandmother for being so problematic. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, oh my goodness. Because I was a teenager during the Tyra Banks era, you know, and like I thought about how destructive it was to us, the body shaming that we were watching that we then inflicted on ourselves. And you know how much damage it actually did to us. And like I realized how deeply problematic it was. But in that time, it was not problematic at all. It was being broadcast on TV, you know? And then there's this one that like, oh, I couldn't believe it. Like I watched like towards the first episode, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it, skip over the next 30 seconds. But basically it's almost like the girl like and a few guys drink to a stupor when they're in Milan, and then she's blacked out and the man has intercourse with her. All of this is being recorded on camera and it airs as she cheated on her boyfriend. Today, that's rape.
Imagine.
Today. But I thought about how...
Has it ever not been?
That's what I thought about. You know, I thought about, has it ever not been rape? For somebody to be blacked out, to have sex with somebody that is blacked out. But it was recorded. It was recorded, her being drunk to a stupor. And then even she continues as though I cheated on my boyfriend. They never refer to it as assault.
I'm very curious about what this will teach us about the kids we're raising and what media are we going to be feeding them and exposing them to, and how we're going to be keeping them from the damage that this media causes, right? But I'm also that scene is actually making me think quite a bit, because I'm quite curious if it was a girl who was but whatever, different thing entirely.
They don't even explore the option of her being
You see,
drugged.
that's the thing.
You know, they just show them drinking wine, her being drunk to a stupor, and she cheats on her boyfriend. And now when she narrates the story, she's like, I don't remember having sex. I blacked out.
You see, that's the thing.
And
Like,
it's
that's
recorded.
And from the snippets that I've seen online, forgive me if I'm wrong, guys, because I'm just taking from what I've been seeing on media and conversations around this. I haven't watched it myself, but it's how the deliberate airing of this.
Yes.
I'm not saying they should have concealed it.
Yo, I know, Shem. There
But-
were so many things done wrong.
Yes,
yeah.
they were like, there were
Yo.
conversations happening in the background about airing it. Like,
There was so
it
many
was more
things
about the
done
numbers
wrong.
it would get.
And guys, editing is editing, which is also what makes it very dangerous, because I even feel like the way they position Tyra as well it's quite, you know, because they ask her and it's almost as if she's sort of forgotten. She's like, you know, when they ask about it, she's like, and then I think she's, if I remember correctly, she opens up with saying, I'm not on the production side. Or one of them, it could be the guy with the blonde hair, says, I'm not on the production side.
No, Tara does
Yeah.
do that, and then the other guy, he still looks so good. I can't remember.
Jay. They both Jay.
Jay, ne?
They both Jay, but one is Jay with the blonde hair, and then there's Jay, the dark, tall guy.
Blonde hair.
Blonde hair. Okay.
He says, no, Tyra did discuss this.
Sure.
You know? But yeah, we'll discuss it more once I've
Yeah.
also watched it.
Yeah, no shame. But it made me so conscious of what we're doing. And because we are all advocates of leaving a digital footprint.
Yeah.
It's a new form of like writing a book, making sure that there's archives and history of what was happening at the time. But I just wonder, on which side of history will this fall? You know, I kept thinking about that. On which side of history does the conversations we're having here fall on?
Yeah.
You know, because right now it feels like we're doing the right thing. We're like trying to have progressive conversations, and like we just don't know what revolution is going to come that says that was the worst thing that could have been done in history. And I'm just like,
And I love that this will push us to even think more critically about our content.
Absolutely.
Because we do. Like, in the group, we were reflecting about something I said, we cannot discuss this because of how it could go either way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We are very deliberate about. So, to the future, in the future,
we tried
with
the knowledge that we had.
What makes me hopeful is the fact that with the internet, unlike the times of Tyra Banks, which was traditional TV, there was no comment section. There was no Twitter campaigns that were protesting, because I can tell you now, there were many people who were probably very skeptical about what was happening, but we didn't, as the masses, we didn't have a voice. So with our content, what I'm looking forward to and what I'm seeing even now is that when we do something wrong, people will call us out, right? They do. People who disagree with some of the things we say, they
Absolutely.
do. You know, we had someone, Bonga was quoting a comment of someone saying sex is for marriage.
And then Luna,
Happy
Larry,
birthday,
happy birthday,
Beyonce.
Beyonce. Luna. It's fucking handy.
Yeah, but I absolutely love the fact that we existing in a time. I mean, I can tell you, especially because I've been so tied into and immersed within internet culture. There are, guys, numbers and numbers of very popular content creators who've been cancelled.
Yeah.
I think 2025 was one of the worst years for content creators who were hiding things. So it is nice to know that our community is there to keep us accountable as well.
You're absolutely right.
But I can talk about this one as well, because I'm very much anti-cancel culture in the same breath.
I love cancel culture
Really?
to a degree. I think it has a
degree,
place,
yeah.
but go.
Yes, I hear about the part where it has a place, but I think it also has created these like keyboard warriors, that people that are not willing to step into the ring, but a critic's voice that is so loud. Imagine you're a boxer, but the critic's voice is like here in your ear. That's what sometimes look at the video that we posted on, and like I allowed myself to be rage baited online, first time ever. But we posted that video of me saying, I tried to help this girl, you know, and this guy's like, you're actually a kidnapper, and you tried to lure her into your car. And a kidnapper. And I said, I always leave these things, but I said, I'm fighting for myself this time. I said, you're not going to come exaggerate here on my page. And what? And now we were going back and forth. Eventually he stopped when he lied. And I said, you like exaggerating so much, even to the point of now you're blatantly lying, you know. And then eventually he left it. But this is like after a huge back and forth. But I just realized, like, here's this guy who doesn't want to contribute. The conversation was, how do we still help in society when we feel unsafe? Doesn't want to contribute to that. All he wants to do is come in and like be a critic right here while I'm in the ring trying to fight. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's this element of it where I'm just like, there's a dangerous element to all the voices and there's a positive element to all the voices. And I wonder how the story ends. How does it look like in the future? There's also a thing where it doesn't allow somebody to grow, right? So you could have an opinion and be taught why that opinion is wrong and change your mind.
Absolutely.
But in the era that we live in now, that does not exist.
Yeah.
But you had this opinion.
Once upon a time.
You know, it doesn't allow somebody to say, because then now it's like, oh, you've rebranded. No, I've learned and I've grown.
Yes.
And I'm allowed to. And I think cancel culture makes no room for those sort of,
absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely.
And it also
That's
makes
a
no
very,
room.
very good point.
It makes no room for a difference in opinion. So if you don't agree collectively that this is bad, then you're bad. You know, because there's other people online, like I'll look at the whole body shaming concept. Some people are arguing to say, where is it body shaming and where is it obesity is a disease and you need to fight against it? You know? And those people, you can easily find yourself in a place where you're getting cancelled over that. You know, so it's like there's such hard lines. There's very little space for grays and nuances.
Yes.
And that's what scares me about the era that we're living in. It's like, it's like you constantly have to be, you know, but you could easily fall on the side where people have decided that you're wrong and you don't deserve a voice. I'll give you an example where it really like stunk in a lot for me. And I wanted to say, I don't want to mention the person's name, but it's going to be so obvious. But I'm friends with Penwell, and I've gotten like flack for being friends with him because his opinion is different and it's wild and it's, you know, it's often viewed as very problem. But like it was like how I saw how people can easily make me feel like, how dare you be friends with that person? Not even people said that in the comments. I'm like, surely that isn't right. Surely it isn't right for you to, because somebody's got a difference in opinion, he should be isolated from community. Like, surely that's not right. You know, I keep looking at it and I was like, and I didn't know how to respond to it because I'm like, hey, I was want to be cancelled now, but I'm just looking at it, I'm like, surely this isn't right. You know, like I see how like people garner that, like, if you're playing R. Kelly, listen here, we're going to cancel you too. That's what it feels like. And don't get me wrong, I don't listen to R. Kelly, by the way. But like, is that right? You know, is that correct? Is that the right way to deal with things? Or is there something about it that's amiss for me?
I hear you. For me, I think it depends on the degree of what the person has done. Like there are some things that are unforgivable.
Yes.
And that person must be written off. But also what I've seen people on the rebranding partner, what I've seen people respond to is when you are authentic. And this is tough because how do you define authentic, right? But I found that, like, for example, you have a lot of influencers who've now become all of a sudden ambassadors of Christianity, and you know, you were once this wild girl and then now you become and now you become, oh Jesus, whatever. Honestly, for the ones who have seen it stick with people is with people rate you as being authentic.
I hear you.
And then the ones where it seems like an act, then they're the ones who people don't take to. Like, you haven't changed your way. I don't know who measures authentic, but I guess we all
measures this authenticity.
Like, but I guess we all get a sense of who's authentic.
What if we're
not
measuring the best actor?
You know, this is the thing where I'm like, it's also weird because how do you measure someone is being authentic or not, right? But for me, with the influencer conversation, it's a normal trajectory of someone's life. Like, the older you become, the wiser you become. likely the more challenges you get, and the more you're seeking refuge, whether it's in a psychologist or it's in religion or it's you're evolving, you're growing,
and you're allowed to. But now the only problem is that we're growing on camera, and there are archives to our growing. Black Mirror is always like my North Star with these things, because it shows you how that culture can go completely off. There's this episode of Black Mirror where you can record everything that happens in your life and you can play back, and it shows you how that, like, you're supposed to forget, actually.
Exactly.
Some things are supposed to be not in an archive, and they're supposed to be so guys, we're entering into a very, very interesting era of life. There was actually this when you speak of vulnerability, there was this podcast I listened to, Simon Sinek and Emma Creed, on Emma Creed's podcast, and the guy said something, of course I don't want to take it out of context, but he said, Simon Sinek said, crying on camera is actually, it could actually have been Emma Creed, I'm not too sure now, I watched it during the week, go watch it. But they say crying on camera is actually the most inauthentic thing you can do. And I was like, yo guys, it's getting harder and harder to keep up with the rules and the this and the, because like you're saying, all the growing is happening on camera.
Exactly.
And there are archives and they are constant reminders of what you once said, what you once did, how you once thought. And is that really how it's supposed to go?
Few points that I wanted to say is, for one, I first want to speak to the thing of being careful to bring attention to some of what the trolls say, right? Like, as you were describing, Ursh, you speaking to that guy and having a back and forth. Imagine how much attention was brought to that guy's opinion simply because Urshla responded to him.
That's why you always keep quiet.
Yes. In fact, now I can search for Ursula fights with, and probably that comment will come up.
You give them free airtime.
Yes. And I think another thing, there's such an important lesson to learn from the cancel culture and how it will always have those who overdo it, right? Those who are extreme. Guys, and I say this because I feel like it's one of the most important lessons we could learn as humanity. Every single movement that you support has people who live at the extremities of it.
Absolutely.
Feminism has this. Anybody who's fighting for men being healthy and men being recognized as human beings who contribute to society has people who live at the extremities of that. Every single thing, church, Christianity, every single movement that is trying to shape humanity has its extremities. Politics. And as a result, it leaves a bad taste in our mouth. Even though the thing in itself is necessary and good, it will leave a bad taste because of those who exist within the extremities, right? Because I think, like, the statement you just made now is quite an extreme one, of crying on camera is the most inauthentic thing you can do. But what if I was having, because we actually, you know how people will say, I don't know if you've heard, like, for example, Penel gets criticized for not being a good interviewer because, he's more of a person who has conversations. People become so fixed in what they're expecting a thing to be that they don't understand that maybe this person is doing something different. We are literally been saying over and over that we're trying to have conversations that feel like you're hanging out with friends under a tree, right? And you feel like you're part of what we're doing here. We're not trying to be we are working on being good interviewers, but that might not be what
the end goal.
Yes.
To be, have like surgical precision in terms of how we interview.
That's why we never have even these like cards.
Exactly.
Because and it's what we tell every guest, our conversation is gonna flow. These pointers that I gave you questions, I might not even get to point 3.
Yes. Last point on it. The masses do not know how to calibrate or organize themselves. So what I mean by that is, when you have a thing that is just given to the masses and says, handle it, that's exactly what happened to Christianity. Handle it. If there's no one moderating it, Reddit does this quite well. Like, you get people who actually moderate subreddits, right? Who manage the place where everyone is having the conversation. If we don't have anyone who moderates cancel culture, like, guys, who gives some kind of guidance, someone to organize this thing, that if we believe something is important enough, there should be moderators. there should be people who help us organize this thing.
So for me, how do we get there? Are we saying eventually we need to be at a place where we're having votes on these moderators? So imagine like our presidents become presidents of people that maintain culture and the rules of culture in society.
Yeah.
Like a chief would. Presidents don't do the cultural element of, they do like more service delivery and things like that. Governance. But imagine that there are culture chiefs. People that say, if we don't monitor this, it's going to go down the wrong path. Right? So I feel like online is getting to a place where it needs, like, I've never thought of it like that. In fact, you're right that there needs to be some sort of regulation.
You're right.
And like the Supreme Court, 12 people.
There's SALGA, right?
Yes,
Oh no, it's South African Local Government Association. But I know SALGA also works with cultural bodies a lot. These cultural bodies do exist, but I think they're not like set in stone type of thing, right? And they're not, what is this? There's no like formality to it. But yeah, SALGA, for example, if I'm not mistaken, even handles stuff to do with chiefs, so just being to the cultural stuff. But guys, I wanted to speak about just on this topic of social media, cancel culture. It's really dangerous. Recently, there's a guy who, actually, this speaks to your point earlier. When do we say this is problematic?
Yeah.
This guy had been making videos mimicking people with particular disabilities, right? And all along we were laughing until someone said, tagged his employer and said, are these the type of people you hire? Right? So all along people had been laughing. His TikTok was doing okay.
And now everyone's like,
someone,
heads off
yes!
him. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, you in trouble now. And you were laughing.
Yes.
Maybe even the employer was laughing. Now he's got to do something about it.
Yeah.
Speaking of the employer, let's say company Bonga. I'm going to say Bonga's company. So someone posts something funny and then the meme is like everyone at Bonga's company. They don't want to laugh anymore.
Guys.
But yeah, it's really dangerous because when this is tough because honestly, some of the things people do say on social media, they shouldn't be saying, and they should be punished for these things, right? But now, why does it affect my bread and butter? Like it must affect because you are silly and that those things are wrong. But now it's like feels like taking it too far.
Yes, like for me, because it's almost like the punishment is the same as. And I always go back to R. Kelly. Shame R. Kelly's gonna think I hate him, but sorry, you're the global example. It will always go back to how are you comparing cancelling R. Kelly and his music and cutting off his bread and butter, if that really did happen, it's arguable. But you're taking somebody that was, as the documentary allegedly is very important. Allegedly, doing whatever with young girls, underage girls, right? To somebody who's making memes and Joe. What's severe? What does the punishment look like on social media where we say, okay, we cancel you 5%. Okay, we canceling you 10%.
Yeah.
Okay, when are you 100% off?
Yeah.
What's
might
the
be disproportionate.
Yeah. What's this regulatory
crime?
board? Where is it?
Yeah.
And what does it look like? So I do have many bones to pick with cancel culture and the internet. Not bones, but I'm deeply always thinking about it. And I think I'm thinking about it, I should be honest, more now as a creator.
Yeah, because it can happen to you.
Yeah. As a content creator, I'm thinking more about it in a way that I don't think I really was before when I was barely on social media, posting one random thing here and there, Now, as we're consciously creating content, I'm like, I really allow myself to sit in like deep thought about it.
Yeah.
Guys, we definitely don't have time to go
through
comments.
We don't.
However, I would like
this
us
was
to...
a good one. I
yeah,
won't lie.
it was a really heavy, good conversation.
Yeah. We hope you think so.
Next thing they like,
they're like, hey.
You're the only ones enjoying that conversation.
Honestly.
But I'm hoping maybe by the end of the day we can go through comments and questions.
Yeah, I think we can
because
do
we
that,
really
actually.
do love to go through some of your comments
and people
questions.
love it too.
Yeah. We even have people now using the hashtag that we created a long time ago that nobody used. Hashtag Get Ready With Me.
I was hoping you're not gonna say that we never use.
please address this during the Get Ready With Me. And so thank you for reminding us of that rule. Somebody did it this week. I've forgotten your name, but you reminded us. And so we definitely want to get to your comments and questions.
Sorry, by the way, that's why I keep looking at my phone, guys. Not that I was disinterested,
Yes.
but I kept thinking we're going to comments, and I'm reading comments off the phone.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to try to do it before the end of today. That was today's Get Ready With Me episode. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and we would love to hear from you. This one is something where I'm going to be like glued to my phone reading the comments, because I'm tired of being like in my thoughts like by myself with regards to cancel culture, content creation, and we'd love to hear from you. For now, though, goodbye.